Alright, so let's look at number 5. So what we're going to do for number 5 is we're going to do what we just did, but we're going to have the calculator do the work instead of us doing the work. So, for instance, if you look back at 3, what we did is we calculated the approximate equation of the line by doing that by hand. And what that all relates back to, again, is saying, if I were to try to connect these dots, I wouldn't hit all of them, but how can I draw the line where it would hit most of them? So what we came up with when we do it by hand is just a trend line. But what we're really looking for is what would be the line of best fit. It's not perfect, but what would be the way to draw this line where it would most accurately represent this? There's a way of doing this by hand. That's a lot of work and not really the focus of this class. A higher level statistics course will handle that for you. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the calculator do the work for us. So let's look back. Let me go back to number 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the information that's in the in that table, and we're just going to put it into the calculator. So let's go ahead and get the calculator out here. And the calculator you have, there might be some stuff already in there. We were already kind of doing some stuff. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to reset the calculator, clear everything out. People go in here and screw with the settings, and so we just need to clean it out. So what we'll do is we'll hit second. And by the way, you can't see me actually pushing the buttons, right? But you can see that when I push a button, it lights up. So second. And then down here, the plus sign, MEM stands for memory. So this is where we're going to go to reset it. So if you look at number 7, and I can just type 7. I want to reset, and I want to reset the whole thing. It's already on 1, so I can just hit enter. And yes, I want to reset, which would be number 2. And then it says RAM cleared. So what I've done is I've just reset all the settings for the calculator. So let me clear that. Alright, so now that you got your calculator killed, you may want to kill it by the end of this, but once you have it cleared, we want to take the information that's in this table and we want to get it into the calculator. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go to Stat. Stat stands for statistics. And by the way, as we go through this on the calculator, if you feel like I'm going too fast, you may want to pause the video so to make sure that you can kind of catch up with where I am. So that's one of the advantages of the video, is you can pause and rewind. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to tell the calculator the numbers. So we're going to edit, and you'll see these two columns. It says L1 and L2. So that's the first list of numbers and the second list of numbers. And so again, for us, our first list of numbers is going to be the child's age, and then the second list of numbers is going to be the annual cost. So what I'll do is that I'll just go down the line here and just type them in. So we got 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. And then I'll use the arrow to go over to the second column. Annual cost, 10,700 and 11,700. And you notice me, I hit one too many times there. So you can use it if you make a mistake. You can use the arrow, go back, hit delete, and then pick up where you left off. 11,700, 12,600. 15. Whoa, too many. And again, I one too many zeros there, so I can use the arrow to go back. And then what I could do is that I can delete that out, and then just type it in again. 15,000. There we go. And last one, 16,700. All right. So what I've got there is we've got all of our numbers into the calculator. One thing that you can do, and I'll show you this, it's not, you don't have to do it for this test, but I just wanted you to kind of see one thing here, is that if you type y equals, and we can actually have the calculator make the scatter plot like what we did in number 2. We can have the calculator make the picture of that. But I have to tell them that it's doing a scatter plot, So I have to hit the arrow up and then hit enter. And what you'll notice is that the plot is now darkened out. So that's just telling the calculator that we want to do a scatter plot instead of graphing a regular line. You'll hit zoom, and then if you scroll down to number 9, and which, by the way, you could actually just hit 9 instead of scrolling down, but you'll see where it says zoom stat. So again, stat for statistics, and then so if I hit enter, there's my scatter plot, which if I went back to look at number 2, I would see that there's there's my graph, there's the other one. What's kind of tough here is I'm not sure what we don't know exactly what the calculator's counting by. I mean, we could figure that out, but I just wanted you to see just the general idea of if did we get the graph right? Is it going uphill? Yes. Does it look like it's a line? Yes, for the most part it does. So that's all that we wanted to verify. All right, but now that we don't have to copy that down for number 5 because we've already graphed it ourselves. Just wanted to show you that because this feature here, as we go through future units throughout the school year, we'll come back and refer to this. So a lot of what you're having to do is learn how to use this calculator. It's not something that we've used as much in the past. In the past, the CST, you couldn't use a graphing calculator. Going forward in the future, you will be able to. So we have to become a little bit more aware of how to do that. All right, so what I want to do is I want the calculator to come up with the equation for me. So I'm going to go back to stat, and then edit's where I put in the numbers, but I've already got the numbers in there. So now that the numbers are in there, I actually want it to do something. So I'm going to use the right arrow to go over to calc, to calculate. And what I want it to calculate is I want it to calculate the line y equals mx plus b. Now you notice they used ax plus b. It's the same idea, right? Which is the rate of change plus where did it start. The len-reg, what that stands for is it stands for a linear regression. And linear because it's a straight line, right? Here's linear regression. Linear because it's a straight line, and regression just refers to what we're trying to do is as far as come up with the line of best fit. So what I can do is I can go ahead and hit enter, and so it says linear regression ax plus b, we're good, and then I go ahead and hit enter once again, and it tells me a and b. So what I would do is I'd write down that equation. So I've got y equals 510 x plus b, which would be 8,750, right? And if you went back and compared the equation that we came up with, let's look back at 4.1. We came up with y equals 300x plus 9,900, and you notice that the number's a little bit different here. Not too far off, right? But what that is that the line that we came up with in number 3 was really we just picked 2 points. So what the calculator does is it takes into consideration all the points. So it comes up with a more accurate equation. So don't worry that you didn't get the same numbers. That's to be expected. We want to do the interpretation here now. So according to this, the cost of a child is going up by $510 per year, with a starting cost of $8,750. So what does it cost to raise a baby from birth to her first birthday? Well, $8,750. Right, that number right there. And I put a little note there. It says age equals 0. If you didn't believe me, you could plug in 0 for the age, right? And what we mean by 0 is just at birth. So that 0 times anything is just 0. So 0 plus 8,750 would be just 8,750. So you could have known that by plugging in 0, but truthfully, like I said, the y-intercept, the b, represents the starting point. So really, without having done all of this here, we really wanted you to just look at the y-intercept and know, oh, okay, that's the starting amount. So it'd be 8,750. This last part of the question says, predict what the annual cost to raise the child when she's 18. So this is where, if you look at our table, stops off at 15. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our equation we came up with to make a prediction. And this is what's referred to as extrapolating. So an extrapolation is you're given a certain range of numbers, and what we're wanting to do is make a prediction for something outside of that range of numbers. So what I'm going to do is we're going to use the model we came up with, and which was y equals 510x, but instead of x, what I'm going to put in is 18, because we're saying, well, how expensive would it be when she's 18? So 8,750, and you know, we could put this in the calculator, so we could go 8,750. Actually, let me do that. Let's do 510 times 18, so $510 per year for 18 years, plus what the starting amount was, 8,750. So we get a total of 17,000. Whew, that's expensive. $17,930. Go home and thank your parents tonight. $17,930. That's your price tag as an 18-year-old. Right. So what you want to do is go ahead and pause now and try 5.2 and 5.3. Alright, so let's check 5.2. So that's the equation sheet to come up with, and then the $2 amounts there. And again, make sure you've come up with these on your own. This is really just for you to check your answers. If you're just copying this down, you're not going to get the question right on the test, right? So you really want to make sure that you've got this. If you're having some problems putting it in the calculator, ask for some help on that as well. And for 5.3, that's the equation you should have come up with. 147 calories and 797 calories for a sandwich that has 50 grams of fat. Alright, so that concludes question number 5, and that concludes our look at questions number 2 through 5. So like I said, you know, I don't want you to think of that as a word problem that we just went through. That's some real life stuff, looking at real life data, real estate prices, economics, and looking at the cost of a child, health, medical, looking at grams of fat and calories. So again, where do you see math? Who uses math? Hopefully you see that these were some pretty good examples. And as I said in the beginning of the video, is that hopefully you feel kind of good, because like I said, you actually did some real math. It's not just some random X's and Y's and what's this have to do with anything. We're actually doing some real math here. Alright, so that concludes number 5.